that way I can go through all of this. But when you learn referrals, when I say unlimited market, unlimited. So let me share my screen with you guys. I know you guys like my Christmas theme right here. Hey, Donald. All right. So, referrals, building an unlimited market. Let's get started on the mentality. So, when it comes to referrals, guys, it's not the script. I know a lot of people, they're like, oh my God, what do you? It's not what you say, it's how you treat the client. Okay. And you want to make sure that you keep up with your client and you F you, not the other F you, but follow up. Okay. So, long-term client relationship building is really important for you to earn consistent referrals, not from new clients only, but from your current clients. Okay. And that comes with Christmas text. That comes with November Happy Thanksgiving text, birthday text. A really big thing that has, I would say, has given me the strongest relationship building with my clients is remembering their children's birthdays, right? So if I text Joey and I text her happy birthday to Taylor, her daughter, on her daughter's birthday, that's bigger than Joey's birthday, her own birthday in February. So if you can remember your clients' daughters or sons' birthdays, that's a really big thing. It's a really big plus because nobody does that. Okay. When you ask for referrals, your credibility, the client's credibility or the trainee's credibility, depending on if you're doing a solo appointment or a field training appointment, has to be there. The higher the credibility is, the less you have to do talking to ask for referrals. But your that credibility coupled with your competence as a trainer or advisor and your confidence is what's going to earn you that referral. Would you ever refer anybody to if they were not competent in what they were doing? Sure, you might refer niece or your niece or your nephew to their uncle if they don't have the number, but you're not going to refer them to your coworker if your 25-year-old niece doesn't know everything she's talking about, right? You may get the easy referrals, but the real referrals that are really going to build your skill set, you got to be competent and confidence. And that comes with building your skill set. It's not you don't get paid on what you do in the ring. You get paid on what you do outside of the ring. Not in the field, but outside of the field. When we were cheerleaders back in high school and junior high school, we had 140 cheers to learn throughout the whole year with the coordination, making sure that you were with your team, making sure you knew the words, the cheers, and the rhythm, the dance moves, all of that. I had to practice that in the room at home, not just in practice. So don't wait until you get in the field to get good, guys. Yes, that comes with experience, but practice behind closed doors when nobody's watching. When you ask for referrals, the more you ask for, the more you're going to earn. So if I ask for only 3 referrals, I'm probably just going to get 1 or none. If I ask for 5, I'm probably going to get 3. If I ask for 10, I'm most likely going to get 5. People want to help you, but you got to know what to ask for, right? Know what you want, know the goal. If you don't know where the goal is, how are you going to win the soccer game or basketball game? No, you don't know where the hoop is located. Now, when you ask for referrals, it's how you say it. And this is for the trainees more so on here. So the Sanayas, Sarah, I don't know if you would consider yourself a trainee because we don't work directly together, but it's really important. And this is so small, but so big at the same time. Never ask a yes or no question when it comes to asking for referrals. Nobody knows anybody, guys. Okay. In their mind, I'm saying that they do know people, but in their mind, they don't know anybody. So never ask, do you know anyone? That is a sure way to dig yourself a grave and leave without referrals. Always ask, who do you know that deserves this education? Who do you know? Not do you know anyone? Nobody knows anyone, but people know people, but it's just how you ask. Your goal, personally, outside of your own team, is to have 100 referrals to call. If you can have 100 personal referrals to call, it's lights out. Okay? Lights out. So let me show you my referral list that I go back to all the time. So oops. Let me see if I can find it. Clearly, I haven't called it in a while because I've been working through our team. All right. So this is my referral list. It's all goes all the way down to 188. So I have about almost 200 personal referrals that I can go back to no matter what. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. And when somebody says no, it's okay when you ask some referrals that your clients refer you to, they're not going to say yes off the bat. Some people, when you call them, they may not have as great credibility. Your client may not have great credibility with that person. Maybe it's a coworker they just met, but they wanted to refer that person because they thought that person deserved the information. That's one you want to get to. That's step one, get the name and number. Step two, let the referral know. Step three, call them. If they say no, I'm not interested, that doesn't mean no forever. That means no right now. Let me give you an example. I have a client, last name Ford, and Mr. Ford, I called him 3 years ago, Sheila, and this guy was married at the time, and I think it was just that his wife didn't want to meet, and that's okay. But every single year, I texted Happy Christmas because we had a great conversation. I was never pushy with him. He was never rude to me, so I kept him on the follow up list. So F you every year for Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving. So I never pressed the topic, but I called him just once a year, maybe once every 6 months. And every time I would just reiterate what we talked about at first and who we met through. And after the third year, which was during the quarantine, I just found out he had gotten divorced. And now, at that time, once people get divorced, their finances change, and they start to look at things a different way with their money and their personal bank accounts, etc., their house, whatever needs to get split. So that turned out to be a max case, guys. And that was a 3 year follow up. Not everybody's going to need 3 year follow ups, but the point is keep people on a follow up list. So let's talk about asking for the referral. When you're in the appointment, you don't ask for referrals in the beginning, but you do ask for referrals in the beginning. So let me explain. In the beginning, you're going to ask, in the beginning in the presentation, you're going to, let me see if I can pull up the presentation. This is what I call the trainer slide. Excitement, value, partnership is what you see. This is where you start dropping your first seed for referrals. Excitement. Usually one of three things usually happen when we show this, Mr. and Mrs. Client. One, people get really excited about what we do, and they start thinking about people that can benefit. If you can think about anybody that can benefit from what trainee Val Lee is doing, I would really appreciate that you introduce them to her. Boom. That's the first seed that you're going to throw, right? You're not asking for the referral, but you're doing it already. That way it sticks in their mind and it's not awkward when you ask at the end. Once you get to the end and you're closing, you're about to quote the client. You want to start asking these 3 questions at the bottom right before giving those quotes. Why? During the quoting session, that's when you're going to give the trainee the job to ask the referral questions. And remember, the more credible the trainee is, the less you have to explain when it comes to giving them referrals, and the less the client is going to fight you. And the other reason why we want to do this while we're giving quotes and have the trainee do it is because silence is deadly, guys. How many times when you go somewhere and somebody's trying to offer you something, get you to own their product, and it's too much silence in between, and now you got enough time to think your way out of it, right? We know that what we do is right 100% of the time, so we're not like any like sales company out there that's just trying to get you to do something that you don't need to be wasting your money on. What we do is right 100% of the time. So, but still people have, you know, buyer's remorse. So you want to make sure that you don't have too much silence going on. If you're not training somebody, keep them busy and learn how to multitask talking to them, or give them homework to actually write down the referrals for you. However, these are the 3 questions right before we go into quoting. So you get the dollar amount, the dollar commitment, and then you say, so Ronald, Caroline, if I put together something that's in between $100 a month, $50 to $100 a month for each of you, that would be comfortable for you? They say yes. Great, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and crunch some numbers for you. But did you feel comfortable with the way that we presented ourselves? Miss Caroline says, yes, absolutely. Great. Did we provide any value to you today at all? Yes, we learned so much. Okay, great. do we answer all your questions, Miss Caroline, regardless of whether or not you ask them? And I say with a smile because sometimes people don't ask questions. They say, yes, oh my God, absolutely. This was great. The reason why I'm asking is because my biggest responsibility is to help Bao Li have other places to go. We normally ask for 5 to 10 introductions to other families like yourself who you feel deserves to hear the same information. Now, even if you give Bao the name and number, we want you to speak to them first. If they call or text you back and say, don't send any 4'11" Asian lady my way, we'll just cross it out, okay? And not they'll never hear us reach out. But if they're open to a 2-minute phone call, this is what we'll say. Hi, Michelle. This is Jennifer Lee. We haven't had the chance to meet yet, but we have a mutual friend in Caroline Ramsey. Did Caroline tell you I'll be giving you a call or mention my name? Now, it should be a yes, Miss Caroline. And what I'll tell her is I sat down with you and shared with them your husband and you some financial concepts that changed the way that they view their finances. During the course of us discussing business, I asked Caroline who else does she know that may be like her, and deserve to hear the same information. And she mentioned you because you are married with 2 kids, just like her. Would you consider that to be true? And now, Miss Caroline, in my time of being here, I have never heard anyone say I don't deserve to hear any education. If they're open to meeting, that's when we'll set up a time to meet. If they're interested, we'll just say, okay, thank you for your time. We promise never to embarrass you, Caroline, or hurt your credibility, because if we did that, you would never introduce Bao to anyone else, right? Miss Caroline says, right. So we'll treat them the same way we treated you. Fair? She goes, fair. So I'm going to pass the floor to Bao, who's going to ask, who do you know that deserves to hear the same information? Okay. So I know I went fast for you guys really quick, and this is recorded, so you guys can get it on the drive and get the slides when Thomas puts it on. But when you say I'm going to pass the floor to Trainee, who's going to ask, who do you know that deserves to hear the same information? I don't care who you are. But every single trainee, when you tell them in the beginning, do not ask, do you know anyone? Ask, who do you know? They still don't get it the first time you tell them. So that's why I say I'm going to pass the floor to Trainee, Miss Caroline, who's going to ask, who do you know that deserves to hear the same information? Because I'm trying to help the trainee remember how to ask. That if they don't ask the right way, even though I went through them the second appointment, if they don't ask the right way again, I'm just going to let the trainee make the mistake. And when you don't ask the right way, it costs you between 5 to 10 referrals. That costs you 5 to 10,000 of compensation by asking the wrong way. But if you ask it the right way, that's an extra $5 to 10,000 in your pocket. So that is a huge mistake that seems so small that trainees do, because they think that, oh, every word that you're saying is not that important, and that's okay. They're not doing it on purpose, but you have to repeat it multiple times to your trainee, and you've got to review it after the appointment. So that's how to ask, guys. All right. Now, the script that the trainee is reading, I always go ahead and text this to them. They have it on Telegram, and let me show you what that means. Let me go to my Telegram real quick. Okay, so this is Shalema. She just finished an appointment the other day with me, right? So I texted her this right before our appointment, or right before our appointment came into Zoom. And I go over with her so that she has it in front of her. There's no way anybody can make any mistakes if they have the questions right in front of them and they're reading it. They have to read it, right? So you have to remind them to read it. And one thing I love about Zoom is that when you, even if they're doing it the wrong way, oops, sorry guys. Even if they're doing it the wrong way, I look at this, like I can literally go on here and I can chat with the trainee in private, right? I can chat with Bao and say, who do you know? Not do you know? Right? So I can do that. You guys can do that. It's so simple, but people just don't get it. Okay. So you can help your trainee that way by texting them and not having to interrupt them, if that makes sense, while they're talking to the client. So this is the script the trainee is reading, right? And while you're running quotes, and tell the trainee to take their time, because And you need to guide your trainee and let them know, hey, keep asking until you can get to 10 referrals. Keep asking until you can get to 10 referrals. Who do you know? Who else? So they're asking, when, who do you know that deserves to hear this education? What's their name? How do you know them? What's their number? Are they married, engaged, or single? How many kids do they have? Who else would deserve to hear this? So, Bao, if you can role play with me really quick. Okay. So I'm the trainee. So I'm going to pretend to be the trainee. Okay. And you're the client while my trainer is doing quotes. So this is how it needs to sound, guys. It has to be very natural. So who do you know, Bao, that deserves to hear this education?
My friend David.
Okay. David. Okay. And how do you know him?
We work together.
Okay. Coworker. And what's his number?
Blah 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 blah.
Okay. Is he married, engaged, or single?
He's married.
Married. And how many kids does he have?
I believe he has two.
Okay. And who else would deserve to hear this?
My other friend Amy.
Amy. Okay. And how do you know Amy?
We grew up with each other.
Okay, childhood friend. And what's her number?
Blah 703 something.
Is she married, engaged, or single?
She's married as well.
Okay. And how many kids does she have?
Three.
Okay. And who else would deserve to hear this?
My other friend Sarah.
Okay. And you just keep going, guys. It's just repetitive, right? It's just repetitive. Thank you, Bao. Now, they keep going until they hit 10. Sometimes, I don't have this on here, but write this down, guys. Sometimes, most of the time, a client will say, okay, that's all I have for you. And they'll stop at like 4. Here is the last way you can request the last referral, because there's always one more to give. Teach your trainee to say, okay, thank you so much. Let's think about one more person. Just one more person. Let's think about one more person. Because everybody can think about one more. One is easy to think about. And you always get one more when you teach your trainee to ask it like that. And the trainee they're really excited because now they know if they put you, their trainer, in front of one more person, they get another 5 to 10 referrals. And you've gone through 2 appointments, they've got 10 referrals waiting on them. 3 appointments, they got another 15 referrals waiting on them minimum, right? You hit the treasure pod, the treasure chest. You got 10 referrals each appointment. They go through 3 appointments with you and they got 30 referrals waiting on them. You can't tell me that trainee is not going to stick, right? So let's prep the client to tell the referrals, because this is something that I ran into in the beginning. And mind you, not every client is going to tell their referral that you were calling, okay? But even if the client goes, I want to talk to them first. We already talked about that in the beginning, remember? We want you to speak to them first. So when you prepare the client, as soon as the trainee's done, you got to thank the client after they gave referrals. So Bao is done collecting, or Miss Caroline, is the client, and Bao's done collecting the referrals. I interrupted because I'm about to give the quotes. I say thank you so much, Miss Caroline and Ronald, for introducing those individuals to Bao. Now, please let these individuals know to expect a call from us in the next day or so. I don't want you to feel like you're doing our work, so you don't have to explain much, okay? Except for it's just about great financial education. I will actually make it easy for you by sending you a text script to forward to them, and you can edit it however you would like, okay? Does that sound good? Miss Caroline says yes. The text. This is the text. So I copy and paste, as I have this in my phone to copy and paste it to the clients. Does every client send it? No, but at least you did your job. The text says, hey, I just sat down with a financial coach that changed the way I viewed my finances. As a personal favor to me, please take a 2-minute call from Bao Lee or Jennifer Lee at 202-111-4444. Thank you so much. And I list my number as the trainer because the trainee does not call. But I also want to be able to call that person and mention the trainee, because I want them being comfortable with the trainee there, especially if they don't know the trainee, but they know the client. Remember, you got to understand people. We're asking them to share personal data like social security numbers, bank accounts. So you have to prep the client to prep the referral. And when you get on the phone, the referral already is prepared to meet two people, not just one. And if this referral is somebody they know, obviously it's easier to set the appointment and also kind of throw a Hail Mary in there and say, even if this is something you feel like you already have in place, would you still be able to help trainee finish her last training appointments? So that's something I throw in as well, but that's if the trainee is in their early stages. Oops. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, great. So where was I? Hanging out with Shaq too much. What was the last thing I said, guys? Somebody unmute themselves.
Even if you already have this, would you be willing to help with training?
Right, perfect. So when you book the referral, thank you, Val. So when you book the referral appointment, mind you, you have to be assumptive with all of this. Okay, you don't ask questions that let them say no to you. You want to be very strategic in the way that you are talking to the potential client that has been referred to you. So when you get on, you can use a soft, friendly voice, however that can sound like, right? Now, obviously, Bao would talk like me because she's another female. I don't think Donald has a high pitched voice that could sound like me. So, um, but when you get on, Miss Caroline, if you could role play with me and be the referral on the other line.
Okay.
All right. Ring, ring, ring.
Hi,
Hi, good afternoon. Can I speak to Caroline Ramsey, please?
speaking.
Hi, we haven't had the chance to meet yet. My name is Jennifer Lee. We don't actually know each other, but we have a mutual friend and Jessica Taylor. Did Jessica tell you I'd be reaching out or mention my name to you?
She did.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Did she brief you on the reason for my call at all or not really?
Not exactly.
Okay, I can be very brief if you're busy. Is that okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, awesome. Well, I hope you're having a great quarantine. I help run a financial brokerage in Tysons Corner, Virginia, and recently sat down with Jessica and her husband and shared some financial concepts that really changed the way that she was handling her finances. And during the course of us discussing business, I asked her if she knew anyone else that was responsible like her who deserved to hear the same information. And immediately she mentioned you because you're married as well with a family. Would you consider that to be true?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, what we specialize in is in debt elimination, saving for your future, your children's future, as well as life insurance options. Which one of those is most interesting or concern you?
Saving for my future.
Saving for your future? Okay, great. Well, a lot of families I speak to, especially during these times, say the same thing. I told that we would never obligate you to do anything. However, in this situation, we normally try to set up a 30 to 45-minute video call so that you and Ronald can get to know me and my junior advisor, Bao, and what we do. If you like us enough, and hopefully you do, to welcome us back for a second meeting, then we can bring back hard numbers. And we never charge for our time. Instead, we just ask that you introduce us to other families like yourself, just like Jessica thought about you. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Awesome. So I know you have to double check with Mr. Ramsey first, but when are you two typically off together these days? On the weeknights or weekends?
Weekends are best.
Okay, awesome. And weekends on Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Okay, so we can shoot for Saturday in the afternoon or evening. What's better for you?
I would say afternoon, early afternoon.
Early afternoon? Okay, so let's shoot for either 12 or 2 o'clock before you confirm with Mr. Ramsey.
Okay, 2. I'll
2?
check and see if he's available.
Okay, so let's do 2, and I'll send you that email just so that you have it for him as well, okay?
Thank you.
Yep, what's your email?
Blah 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 blah.
Okay, perfect. So I have you down for on Saturday, January 2nd at 2 p.m. with you and Mr. Ramsey. That sounds good?
That sounds good. What's your name
Uh,
again?
Jennifer Lee.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, all right. So let me go through this. I want to have time for questions because I know a lot of you guys have some type of blockage, maybe, or maybe not. So let me check the chat. and